Good evening and greetings from not a cinema car park. I'm on my driveway. This is because I went to see a film this afternoon and then had to leg it at the end to collect my daughter from school. So here I am, a few hours later, but still the same day. It's all still very fresh. This afternoon I went to see Fly Me to the Moon. This is a newish film. It's an Apple original film starring Scarlett Johansson and Channing Tatum. And it is set around the time of the moon landing in 1969. The premise is that the image of NASA and the moon landings isn't great, that the American people have kind of lost interest in the space race. They are concerned about the amount of money that's going into it. There was the disaster with Apollo 1, and it's sort of not really seen as cool and sexy anymore to go to space. But America and NASA still want to beat the Russians to the moon. So Scarlett Johansson's character, who goes by the name of Kelly Jones, not to be confused with the lead singer of the Stereophonics, is drafted in by a shady character played by Woody Harrelson to basically improve the public image of NASA and space. That's the premise. So it's all very light and bouncy. I enjoyed it to an extent, have a couple of niggles with it, but the positives first. Scarlett Johansson is incredibly watchable. She is a great actress and she has been making really good films and putting in really good performances in not so good films for a really long time. So even if the film around her isn't great, she's always consistently brilliant. And she suits the 1960s beautifully. I like that she plays a ballsy woman. She's an ad exec at a time when women in offices were secretaries and typists and telephonists. They answered phones. Telephonists. That doesn't sound right. Very early on, we see her doing a pitch to three men for a car ad, and obviously they're very dismissive of her because she's a woman and what she knows about selling cars. And then of course she's absolutely brilliant. So to see her playing this strong, intelligent, no nonsense, witty, sharp woman is great. And the hair suits her, and it's a combination of, business dress and little pedal pushers and cardigans and neckerchief things, and she just looks fabulous. She's also aging really well. I have no idea how old she is, but she's been around for a really long time, and she's got to be like mid-30s at this point. Off the top of my head, I've got absolutely no idea. I'm trying to think back as to when I first saw her and how old she might be, but she just looks great. And she is playing opposite Channing Tatum. He is the launch director for the Apollo 11 mission. He is an ex-pilot and a war veteran, and he himself cannot be an astronaut, so he's in charge of the mission. And they make a really attractive and appealing on-screen pairing. They bounce off each other wonderfully. The first time they meet, he sort of tells her she's beautiful, not realising that the following day when he gets to work, she's going to be there. And then his feathers are well and truly ruffled by the way she comes in and starts to try and improve the public image of NASA, because he sees it all as being very frivolous. He's got work to do, science, stopping things from catching fire, which happens quite a lot. And he really wants to focus on on getting man safely onto the moon. That's his mission. And everything she's doing just seems like a distraction. But she's very good at what she does. And he starts to see that actually it can bring in money and the project needs money because going to space is really expensive. So yes, those two sort of sparring, him begrudgingly accepting the part that she's playing to a spark of perhaps romance. It's not heavily done. There's obviously an attraction there, but it's not I wouldn't say it was a rom-com. I would say it was sort of a comedy drama, you know, sort of, well, not based on a true story, but sort of set around, you know, a real event. And yes, there is definitely a spark between those two, but it's not what the whole film hinges on. There's some really good supporting performances in it. Woody Harrelson is always brilliant. Even when he's playing somebody shady and not that likable, I still really like him, which says a lot, really, doesn't it? So you never really find out who he works for other than the American government. So he's a bit shady. And he asks her to do this job to sort of wipe the slate clean, because it turns out that she has got quite a checkered past. My complaints about it is far too long. I think the runtime, official runtime, is 2 hours 12, and it just feels a bit flabby. It definitely needed trimming, and also it's a real film of two halves. The first half of the film is all about like getting the money and getting the project going and getting America to fall in love with the space race again, and that bit's fun. The second part, and this is not spoilers because it's all in the trailer, the second part is more about the fact that Woody Harrelson's character asks her to basically film a fake moon landing to be broadcast just in case the real thing doesn't work. So the second half of the film is all about shooting that and trying to hide it from Cole, which is Channing Tatum's character, and whether or not it's right to lie to the American people. And obviously, through as being an ad exec, she's kind of makes her money from lying or from selling a story. And is it right to sell a lie to the American people? Is it right to show them a moon landing which isn't authentic? It's not suggesting for a second that the moon landings didn't really happen. It's a light comedy film with moments of drama. It's not conspiracy theory. And it is watchable. The music's great. It's got a lot of, excuse me, I'm not very well. It's got a lot of like Motown classics and sort of jazzy numbers, and I enjoyed that, and I like the way it looked. It's an Apple production, so they're not short of a few quid. The leads are great. I do like Channing Tatum when I think back to seeing him in Step Up, and he's backwards Kangol hat doing hip-hop dancing with the woman who he would marry and now isn't married to anymore. I think he's had a great career, and I find him interesting. There was also a trailer for a sort of horror thriller called Blink Twice, which he stars in. I saw that before today's film. So, you know, he's a fairly versatile chap, and I do like him. Like I say, they were great leads opposite each other, the supporting cast. She's got an assistant who's like a raging feminist who doesn't want to do the job because she doesn't want to work for Nixon. So it's light and it's fun and it's watchable and it's pleasant, but it's just too bloody long, and I kind of checked out. And the fact that it is kind of part one and part two, I also found a little bit irksome. Overall, it was enjoyable, and I'm glad I've seen it. I probably won't ever watch it again, but that's not a slam, because there's a lot of stuff I don't watch twice. Unless it's Spider-Man No Way Home, and then I go to the cinema 4 times to see it. And guess what? They're putting all the Spider-Man films back in cinemas. I'm going to go see it again. I'm telling you that now. So yeah, it's perfectly pleasant. It whiled away a couple of hours. I wish it had whiled away slightly less time, but very watchable, and lovely leads and great costumes, and Scarlett Johansson looks great in 60s get-up. That was my main takeaway. That's it. Thanks for listening. Katie out.